All right, I'm here with promoter Sampson Lewkowicz. Sampson, thank you so much for joining me today. I want to get started with you did a interview recently with my friends G Funky and Dave Duenas, and some of the comments in that interview seem to have just started a firestorm here in the YouTube boxing community, and I want to address a few of those if we could. In regards to the Canelo Alvarez David Benavidez fight, you made a comment that for that fight to happen, it would have to be on Showtime and it could not be on DAZN. Now, the question I have is this: if DAZN were to just make an offer that was just so much bigger than Showtime's, you as the promoter whose job is to make sure David Benavidez gets the best deal possible, would you still hold on to that hardline rule that this fight, no matter what, has to be on Showtime?
Well, it can be in both, like, it can be both sides,
Okay.
but never exclusive to the zone, because before money is loyalty.
Okay.
And the loyalty for PBC that I have, and I guarantee you that David Benavidez and his father and the whole team of Benavidez, one is loyalty. So it's nothing to talk. But look, the situation with Canelo, it will expire on May 6th. I've been busy and I will not watch the fight because I have my own show in Panama City. But
Gotcha.
I can guarantee you it be the lowest ever because the opponent. However, after that, it looking at Bitball. Bitball come with something that I really like it. He said that he will fight him only in 168 for the four titles. And that is impossible. And if you tell me why, I will answer.
Go ahead. Why?
The WBC signed in the convention, on the last convention in Mexico, that it will follow up and protect and defend Ukraine. And it will never fight any Russian that fight for a world title. And he signed a document saying that is all about Ukraine and what's going on with the Russians attacking a free land of a country like Ukraine. I was there. It was a beautiful country. I was in the convention of the WBC actually, and it was unbelievable experience, and everything is getting destroyed. Beside that, Mauricio Soleimani have a great relation with Ukraine and all his champions. So, with that in mind, it be only three titles, maybe. So I'm very happy because my fight 81 to be the best super middleweight in the world. So he will have his, it will have his shot to the title because automatic, if he give up the WBC title, he come to be a full champion. The same case happened with Sergio Maravilla Martinez, that he was a long WBC interim till come to be a champion. And and in that time, Sergio used to say, I'm an interim champion, but I'm not in the book of glory of the boxing world. So it's exactly the same case with David Benavidez. That is one. Now, I believe that what Bivol doing is he want to be a smart negotiator. So he knows that it will not happen because Bivol, after the fight with Canelo, he went to Russia and he went down on the plane with his flag, of Russian flag, and he got paid in Russia. With that in mind, there's no way that Mauricio Suleiman he will approve that fight. And most likely go to 75. But what happened with Ball, now he will ask him for more money in 175. it's a very smart move on his behalf.
So you think that the WBC won't sanction that fight for undisputed, and do you think that that would be a problem for Bivol wanting to fight Canelo at 168, or do you think that after that it will go up to 175 because he realizes that he won't be undisputed, but he would still get the other titles?
I strongly believe that it's all negotiating. That
Okay.
that he cannot make the 168, he cannot make it, but he try to pull up, a couple of more $1 million on his side. This is what I believe. And I don't believe he will be very successful anyway because he will get beat most likely Canelo. Bivol is a great fighter. But I tell you one thing: if Russia he walk away from Ukraine, David Benavidez he will fight Bivol.
So you would welcome that fight
Oh
with
yes,
Bivol? Okay.
definitely. However, he need to walk out Russia and make peace with Ukraine. If not, he will never fight.
So you pretty much share Mauricio Suleiman's stance on this with the boycott of the Russian fighters. Is that what you're saying right now? Are you on board with that? Do you agree with that?
Definitely, because I lost so many friends in Ukraine, and what Russia is doing is unbelievable. That happened in this time of the war to be so savage, Mr. Putin, and I will never give him any satisfaction.
Okay. But do you think Bivol should be punished for that, though? He's a fighter. He's not a politician. I mean, he's half Korean. He lives in the United States. I'm sure he pays taxes in the United States. Should he be involved in the politics of what's going on over there? Is that fair in your opinion?
You need to make a statement. You need to make a statement to Russia that he cannot walk away so easy. That
Okay.
many people were suffering. About the people, the boxer that he died in Ukraine, that he had a whole career in front of them, an Olympian, he got killed. Doesn't deserve it? So why he would deserve it? Any Russian, now if it's different cases, but if Bivol, he fought and he never went back to Russia, but he went to celebrate in Russia. And
So
let
you-
me tell you that David, he will knock the shit out of him.
So you have a problem that, let me make this clear. Now, he recently, you're saying, went back to Russia during this conflict. Is that what you're saying?
No, sure, after the fight of Canelo, he went to Russia with his flag down the hall of the airport, and he got paid in Russia.
Okay. So you have a problem. All right. I understood. I didn't know that.
And whoever say that, like you say now, that why you need to punish the boxer, about the boxer that he died defending his own country.
See, I'm with respect. I think I disagree. I know I disagree with this because I don't think Bivol should be punished for the politics. I think sports and politics should be separate. But I respect your opinion. I just respectfully disagree with it. That's just my stance on it. But again, that's fair. Now, I just want to, I hate to belabor the point, but I just want to go back to this the zone thing one more time. And so, under no circumstances, like it would either have to be a co-promotion, and there's no way, regardless of the offer, like if Canelo just, Canelo's not going to make the decision, but if the zone just put up so much money and they say, we've already sent Canelo over there one time. This one time, we just want to do this ourselves, and we're willing to pay premium price for this. In good conscience, would you advise David to not take the fight? And what if David demands the fight regardless? He says, Sampson, I don't care. I just want the fight. I want to do the fight. How much input does David have? I'm sure he would have the final say. Am I wrong in that?
Well, let me put it this way. I don't know if I want to, but let me tell you about me.
Okay.
In one point of the career of David Benavidez, people talk in his ear, and he had few issues, and he decided to sign with Bob Arum.
I remember that.
Bob Arum sit with me day before, and after that, he said, I give you $1.5 million to be with the Benavidez. You will be getting paid and all that. $1.5 million, it was not good enough, and 10 million, it would not be good enough of my loyalty
All right.
to PVC. So I proved myself that loyal is everything in life of a man. When these different cases of different promoters that doesn't work in PVC, why? Because he was not loyal. Because every man have a price. I can tell you that much. But it's depending how much is your weight to pay you. And if you come with $100 million, I promise you I will not take it.
So are you concerned at all, though, that for David's reputation, that maybe, if he, not maybe, but I think a lot of people would say that he would be avoiding the fight, turning down all this money. He really doesn't want to fight Canelo. What is your stance on that? How would you react to that type of reaction from the boxing fans if that was to come about, which I most certainly think it would?
Well, let me put it this way. Let's say that he come with a big offer. Okay, he pay up to, I believe, $15 million. Now, when you have a champion and the challenger is 75-25 split, which is mean that, let's say that if you put $60 million, it will come up to be 15 million. Okay. At one point, I would not say me personally, but PBC offered him 50 million to Canelo. Actually, he offered him to Eddie Reynoso, and he decides to go to the zone. So, which means that he will never will accept that. And beside that, now he's an interim champion. The interim champion is 55-45.
Yeah.
So you need to come up with a lot of money. So we go to a purse bid. If we go to a purse bid and we win, maybe he will fight or maybe he will not. But if it's a mandatory and mandate by WBC, if it doesn't, if we cannot come in an agreement, we can go on purse bid. Most likely, it will not come if PBC win. I don't say myself because I don't have that kind of money, But PBC would say, this is the budget, go ahead and do it.
But what it all comes down to is, respectfully, you are the promoter, you advise David, but what it all comes down to is what the networks want. Would that be a fair assessment of the situation?
This is 100%.
Okay.
Because normally, worldwide, we call ourselves promoters, but promoter is the network, as well as DAZN.
Yeah.
DAZN was willing to lose millions and is losing billions. And that is the case of DAZN because it doesn't have the quality of fighters that PBC have it.
But what about people who say that Showtime's budget has been shrinking and that Showtime may not continue to show boxing? What is your response to those statements? And what is your opinion on that as well?
Well, let me put it this way. People can talk and behind a computer or by phone, or even person can talk, but nobody knows shit.
Okay.
And that is it. If you start to listen to people, oh, it doesn't have a budget and this, nobody knows the flavor of the pot beside the spoon. The spoon knows better before you what kind of soup you have or what kind of whatever food you have in that pot.
Enough. Yeah. Okay. So how much time would have to elapse for you to petition the WBC to order this fight? I know you got some fights in the interim. I think David Morrell, maybe Demetrius Andrade. What's next for David? And two-part question is, how long would you have to wait? How long would you be willing to wait before you made a phone call to Mauricio and tried to petition to have him order this fight? What's the timeline?
I don't believe I will make a call because Mauricio, as well as each one of Gilberto Mendoza and Dowell's people, and maybe Paco Valcacer, the four of them will be in Mexico. Or we have someone high enough to be in Mexico. And after the fight, you will say, what do you plan to do? Because Gilberto, you have a mandatory with Morel. and Mauricio have the mandatory with the Benavides. However, it could happen that he will say, "I gave up the title." It will not be the first time; it will be the second time, and then it be unification between Morel and Benavides because unification is stronger and mandatory.
Gotcha. So, are you saying you see a possible scenario where Canelo gives up the title and David gets elevated to the champion, or do you think that
I
would happen?
I
Is that what you?
believe that it will be a negotiation, short one, very
Okay.
short, and then we know what happened after the six.
Yeah. Do you
But
envision?
remember, it's up to the four sanction body to take a stand. I don't believe the WBO will take it because
Okay.
because he have his mandatory now, so he will he will not push anything. But then you have the IBF, the WBA, and the WBC.
Sure. So, would it be safe to say that you're leaning towards David fighting David Morrell next? Is that the next option?
Yes, and by the way, it's more danger Morel than it could be Canelo,
Okay.
a
When
young, hungry Cuban.
when could we expect to see that fight?
Well, after the six, we'll find out who's fighting who because you
Okay.
cannot predict who will be. We can say that Morelli be definitely the number one, especially if he gave up the title to have a unification and do a nice pay per view.
Okay.
That the
So,
customary to do it with PBC, a good fight in the undercard.
are you saying that Morrell may be the mandatory for Canelo's WBA title? Is that what you're saying? Is that why you have to wait, or you
Well,
think you think Morrell would jump in front of David?
uh, I honestly I cannot say that
All
it will.
right.
I cannot predict that.
So you want David to fight Morrell next, but you're still before you start sitting down and trying to piece that fight together. You want to wait till May 6th before you do that because you want to see what the sanctioning bodies do. So there's a
We
lot of
have
moving parts here.
we have a signed contract for the past few months with Morel,
Okay.
so
Oh,
that
so
is
that's fine.
easy.
All right.
Yeah, the only thing is will be the money and the pay per view and details.
Yeah.
But this is can be a done deal in 5 minutes.
What's the target? What would be the target date for that, though? Would that be in the summertime, or would you want to push that back a little further than that? Or
No, look, this we cannot think about the future of the date when
all
you
right.
not have,
Yeah. So you're just gonna you have a deal in principle, and you're just gonna wait to see the whole how the whole thing plays out with Canelo
and
after.
by the way, if Morel doesn't take the fight, I mean, if Morel, let's say that he decide to go with Benavides, uh, Morelli will make more money with Benavides than with Canelo Alvarez.
I don't know about that, Sampson. That's a
Well, let me
bold
put
that's
it
a
this way.
bold claim. That's a bold
I say
claim.
that no, I say that if Benavides knock out Canelo, the next fight it be much better.
Okay. All right. Well, that remains to be seen. But that you can make an
Well,
argument. You can
look,
make an argument. You can make an argument for that. Fair. We'll give you that. So one more comment you made on that G Funky Duenas interview. You said that David Benavidez is the new sheriff in town, and again, David Benavidez has come off a great win. His profile is definitely going to go up after this fight. But when you make that statement, are you saying that you believe that he is above Canelo now, or is that what you're insinuating? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but is that what you
okay,
meant when you said
I,
that?
I you can see it yourself. If let's say that he decide to fight in Vegas, like the last time with Golovkin, he will decide to fight in Vegas in 175 with Big Bong. He will not sell tickets
Okay.
because nobody cared. And by the way, the boxing war, the majority is with me about Russian and not with you.
Okay. Well, I mean, you made a strong conviction, and I respect everyone's opinion when it comes to politics. I'm I'm not affiliated with any political party, so I'm open-minded when it comes to politics. We can have a a respectful
Yeah, but
disagreement. We can have a respectful disagreement on that issue, and I'm not gonna I'm not gonna hold that against you. Or I don't.
no. When you see how many amateurs and professionals died in the war
All
in
right.
Russia, then maybe you
I
change
don't
your
want
mind.
anyone to die.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah,
bad
yeah,
if
but
anyone
not
dies.
not because in attack of your own country.
Yeah. I mean, I feel
The
bad people are
Klitschko,
dying in Yemen. I feel
but
bad
yeah,
people are
but
dying in
this is a
Yemen.
different story. We're
All
talking
right.
about boxing in Yemen. There's no boxing, and I
Okay.
tell you another thing: the Klitschko, it risks his life every day because he's
All
in the
right.
front of the line.
Okay.
So whoever loved boxing, he must love the Klitschko brothers, and you have something that uncalled by Putin to attack that savage way to any country, neighbor country, or which is worse.
So if Bivol came out and said, he's not for this war, would that change your opinion on him a little bit, or would you still hold that hard line?
No, because if we not
You wouldn't believe him. You wouldn't believe him.
no,
You would think
because
you would think it would be a convenient thing to say just to get
because
the
he
fight.
make a black eyes to boxing.
All
When
right.
after that, after Canelo, that he fought, he went with his flag and he got the money in Russia. We helped Russia, and I don't know if he paid taxes over here. I'm not an accountant,
Yeah, he
and
lives
I
in
don't
I
know
think he lives in
less.
California or something like that now.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah.
no, I got you. So do you envision this like situation with Canelo and Benavidez? Do you envision it ever coming down to like it's going to have to like be a purse bid? Do you see the negotiations between David and Canelo going smoothly? How do you? I know you can't predict the future, but in your opinion, how do you see that whole scenario playing out in your head?
Well, uh, I know Eddie Reynoso for many years. I know Canelo from Pro Debut
Okay.
when he fought with the Seven Brothers, Seven Brothers in the same night in Guadalajara, and I make few shows with Eddie Reynoso. He's very smart man. I saw him a couple of weeks ago in California, and I hugged him because I don't know if he feel that hug, but it was really, uh, care and love that I have for this man that he was my partner and in few shows, and it's one that I have the most respect. But I need to defend my fighter.
Okay.
That each one of my fighters is like my own son, and I believe he deserves the shot to be the best in super middleweight, and that is the reason that my relationship with Eddie Reynoso it changed a lot, and I feel bad, but I need
Has
to
it
do what
changed
I
for
need
the
to do.
better? Has it changed for the better or for the worse?
No, for the worse, for the worse.
Oh,
He used
okay.
to call me teacher,
Okay.
maestro. Now
Okay.
he doesn't call me that way.
So, in your opinion, do you believe that they want the fight? Do you think that they really want the fight? David says he wants it. David doesn't believe Canelo's avoiding him. He said after the fight he's got things to do. He was very respectful to Canelo. In your opinion, do you think Canelo wants this fight?
Let me put it this way: I saw Canelo, and I gave him few opponents to him in his young career, and after that, he's not scared of anyone.
Okay.
He's not scared. He's a real mensch. He's a good guy, but the problem, I believe, is Eddie Reynoso, my dear friend, that maybe him is afraid to lose, that David he will beat him up. I don't know. This is but Canelo he will fight anyone. Canelo is a real fighter that is not afraid to anyone because one of the time that is true story. Uh, I took an Argentinian opponent, and when I went to his dressing room to say hello, I saw his knee. It was blow up like a balloon. I said, "You cannot fight this way." And he said, "Are you kidding me? You come all over from Argentina, this man, and when I fight him, I would fight him." I said, "It's crazy. He can lose the fight because he cannot even move his legs." and he fought like that in Mexico.
Wow. All right.
So with
That's
that in mind, you
that's
know my respect for Canelo. And it's a true story because you can call Eddie Reynoso, and Eddie Reynoso can tell you that after the fight, he couldn't take his shoe out. By the way, he won by KO.
yeah. So one last question on this. And we'll move on. Do you think that even though you're saying your relationship with Eddie Reynoso is not the greatest, do you think that you guys can sit down and bang out a deal for the sake of business?
I believe so.
That's what the fans need to hear, because you're painting a glum picture right now, and I'm not really happy with it. But I'll have to deal with it. But go ahead.
But let me tell you about Eddie Reynoso. I believe that he understands my position, and
Yeah.
by the way, I believe he's a free agent. It doesn't have anything to do with the zone any longer after this fight.
Well, here's the thing. Not to interrupt you, but I kind of read some quotes from Eddie Hearn, and the deal that Canelo has is with Eddie Hearn, and he says that the beauty of the deal he has is Canelo is a network free agent. Even while working with Eddie Hearn, he's still not tied to the zone. From what I understand from Eddie Hearn's quotes, Canelo himself has said, that he would consider sitting down with PBC. I heard him say maybe next year I'll talk to PBC. That was last year. So from what I understand, and again, I'm not going to speak out of school here, from what I've heard from Eddie Hearn and I've heard from Canelo, they're not specifically tied to the zone. And you saw that when he came over and fought Plant after fighting, on the zone exclusively for like 6 times in a row. But continue. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, I mean, Eddie Hearn probably is one of the most smart promoters to get the zone, that they given billions of dollars and losing billions of dollars. But he's a very smart promoter, and sometimes he do right, and sometimes he make major mistake, and then he doesn't know how to come up out of that mistakes.
Okay.
So but I work with Eddie Hearn, and he treated me with a lot of dignity. So I have nothing against him. Besides that, sometimes he making mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, you've sent fighters over to zone yourself. I mean, what is your opinion of the platform? And when you fought on those cards, how was the experience?
Well, you never meet the zone people. I work with Eddie Hearn. I work very often with the Golden Boy, that is still for me is still my own home, because I work with Golden Boys from the beginning, from day one, for almost 10 years. And then I need to go my own way as a promoter from 2008 till today.
Okay. Now, I know you talked about on the interview with G Funky and Dave Duenas about Sebastian Fondora is going to exercise the rematch clause with Brian Mendoza. How's Sebastian doing right now, and how fast do you want to get him back up and running and make this fight?
He was winning every minute of the fight, and he got caught with a lazy uppercut, and he paid the price. And I guarantee you that Sebastian Fundora is like an elephant mind. He will never make the same mistake. So it'd be a good fight. God willing, whatever his father, Freddie, will decide, and he be ready so that it will be the fight.
Okay. So you're leaving it up to them to decide when they're.
Oh, definitely. I will never push any fighter for a rematch, special the way he lost, that he be immediately. Doesn't need it. Take his time. Yeah. Now he's relaxing. You have a good time, I mean, when I say good time, it's not sometimes like others going party up and all that. He's in his house. He's with the family.
Okay.
Right. I mean, Sebastian Fundora is totally different of any fighter that I met.
Okay. Now, some people say, and even myself, I thought this, is Sebastian Fundora fighting in the wrong weight class? Should he move up? Was him squeezing down to 154 with that big long frame of his. Did you think that has had any impact on his career, and did it have any impact specifically in this fight?
He wanted to go down to 47.
Jesus.
He said, I can fight 47 with no issue. He walked in 160. I be with him a night before that. I took a picture, eating like nothing happened, the full meal.
Yeah.
The night before they were in.
Okay.
As well as his sister, Gabriela, he was eating, I believe it was a hamburger with French fries like nothing happened,
I got you. Yeah.
And she make 109 when she is 112.
Okay.
And she went after dinner, he went 109, which is mean they can go to 108.
Yeah. Speaking of weight, you look like you dropped a few pounds. You've been
No.
cutting back?
I-
No? Maybe it's the black. Maybe it's the black shirt. You're wearing a black shirt. That's what it is, right?
I have a belly. After my cancer, I have no thyroid.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry. I didn't know that.
Oh
I
yeah,
didn't know that. Yeah.
I have to actually. The whole pandemic, I was in back and forth from the hospital with a couple of surgeries,
Oh, wow.
and I have a really rough time. But it was a year ago. When everybody's worried about COVID, I was worried about my cancer.
Okay.
But I'm a survivor.
I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad everything worked out for you, man. I mean,
The only thing bad is the belly. I don't know how to take down the belly.
yeah, yeah. Did you have to do the chemo and all that stuff too?
No, it was a different treatment.
Yeah, that chemo's horrible. I know that.
Yeah. It was a different treatment. It was with the radiation.
Radiation treatment.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good enough. Now I want to switch gears a little bit here. Michel Rivera lost. He was undefeated. Suffered his first loss against Frank Martin. What's the status on him? What do you plan on doing with him next?
Well, nothing I can do till the expiry is.
The suspension there for them.
Yeah. So I cannot even talk about it. I cannot go and make a fight.
Really?
Because,
Wow.
sure,
Okay.
because you cannot, when you have somebody in suspension, you cannot negotiate anything.
Okay.
Up to the day that he finish his negotiation, his suspension, which will be in June. So then I can start talking about it. But
Okay.
I believe he's training at this moment. He changed his team, and we see what happens.
Okay. Now let's talk about Gabriel Fundora, because we always bring her up every time we talk. She's been rolling along. She's been winning. She's been progressing. What is the plan for her? Do you want to continue building her, or do you want to position her for a title shot, or do you want to just have her continue climb the ladder and maybe fight some contenders? What is the plan for her?
Well, she had a really tough fight on the last time around with 11-2, unbelievable fight it was, and it was not televised. I need to convince PBC that that maybe it's time to have the first lady on aboard, especially her. But she's an unbelievable person. I mean, the brother, I believe that is so similar.
They look a lot alike. They look a lot alike, yeah.
Yeah, and the smile that she have, and the smile that Sebastian have. I mean, how sweet it can be, I don't know. But he's a sweet poison.
See, now over at the Zone, you got Eddie Hearn, who's always putting on the female fights. When you watch those shows over there, you can always see the females fighting. So they do a good job over there. You gotta talk to PBC, man, because they're not pushing the women's boxing like the Zone does. You gotta give the Zone credit for that, at least, right?
Yeah, and the same time is because sometimes the Zone doesn't have a big stars, put it that way, to fill it up.
Keep taking shots at the Zone, man. All right. So the big question, the big fight's tomorrow, right? Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia. Who do you like?
Well, my grandson, he loves Garcia. He's 10 years old and he's his idol. I need to go against my grandchild. I believe that it'd be a good fight till Gervonta get him.
So you think Gervonta Davis is going to win by knockout?
Yeah. This.
Wow.
I mean,
I can't.
I like Garcia. Trust me, I love Garcia. He's a good kid, But this is my opinion, because the
Yeah.
power of Gervonta Davis is unbelievable. I can say that the same power he will have, almost the same, maybe a little bit a notch less, is Royman Villa that he fought Ellis.
Okay.
He can punch,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay. Well, Sampson, that's all I got for you today. I want to thank you for being a good sport. You answered all the questions, and it's good to be able to ask tough questions and get answers because you don't always get that in the boxing world. So I appreciate that. And I wish you the best. Thank you so much, man. And good luck
Well,
with all your endeavors.
let me tell you, every time I do an interview, most likely I will get in trouble. So, so
All right. Well,
this is not different. Thank you very much
all
anyway.
right. Thank you so
Take
much,
care.
man.
God willing. Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
God
Take
bless
care.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.